Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and this is going to be my part one to the reviews on comics released on September 22nd, 2021. These are all going to be DC, and there's kind of a reason behind it. I've been loving indies so much, and I do love these stories going on with DC, but it's like most of my tops are indies, so I'm trying to read all the stuff at the bottom first and then go big at the end this time. And I don't know, I'm reading so much, it's like I come across a number one and then I get to another comic and it's so pale in comparison, it kind of shines it down a little bit. I don't know if that makes any sense. So I'm just trying to mix it up, see if that helps a little bit. It could be just these stories are just that amazing. Alright, so we got Shazam, issue number 3 out of 4. We are continuing the journey with Billy Batson and one of his classmates from Teen Titans Academy, Dale. And recently we just found out, that Dale is the son of basically the Lord of Hell. They don't ever say Lucifer. They call him by longer names and other names kind of around that point. I don't know why, because Lucifer is their continuity. But anyways, for those of y'all that don't know, Billy Batson has been having problems with his powers lately, and it's because somehow the Rock of Eternia has ended up in hell. Basically, Billy found out that he was having the issues with his powers, and got Dale to teleport them down to hell. Once they got in there, they got in some weird casino shenanigans, and they're kind of running away from those issues at the moment, with the head of the casino being one of the Lords of Hell or something like that. I think his name is Sabak, and him and his goons are chasing Billy Batson and Dale. Billy Batson, the only reason he's running is because the Rock of Eternia is causing him problems, and technically he's stuck in his Shazam form, but he doesn't have any of the other powers. And there is a more pressing issue, because one of the members of the Shazam family has a medical condition, and if he's not constantly in contact with the Rock of Eternia, it could possibly kill him. So Billy is kind of like secretly freaking out during all this, basically getting Dale to, he keeps making portals from here to there, but eventually Sabak and his gang, they all eventually kind of catch up to him. We do get to this one moment where somebody starts whispering and talking to them, scene in this scene. And we do find out that it's Neron who is talking to Billy and Dale, knowing both of them, him being a demon himself. I'm not well versed in Neron, but they kind of give you enough background as the story's going. He's a demon, he's not to be trusted, he's had run-ins with Shazam before, that kind of stuff. Basically he does kind of introduce himself, and basically tells him that they're never going to get away from Sabak and the group, but Sabak's not really one of the issues he needs to worry about. More bark than bite kind of thing. But he does end up helping them, and he takes them underground in this labyrinth that is in the lower depths of hell, stating it would be easier for them to move around and try to get closer to the Rock of Eternia. The whole time Dale and Shazam are constantly, questioning Neron's, his ability to help them, and his reason on why he wants to help them. Him being a demon, there's got to be like a catch, attached, and Shazam brings this up a couple different times. He does tell them at one point that he will take them to the Rock of Eternia, again without giving him the catch, but he does say in safety. They do go for a little bit in the caves, and they do find out that the safety is more than it was just kind of words coming out of his mouth, because they do run into some undead soldiers down here and quickly get entrapped by these soldiers, like physically all three of them, including Neron. Dale does end up summoning his fire sword, something he's just naturally capable of, and he even explains that the wings and the sword are all brand new and he doesn't really know how to control them. Using the sword, he does excuse me, he does end up releasing them and saving all three of them, and eventually they do they finally make it where they need to go. And as soon as they get there, of course, Neron finally reveals his plot and plan, basically explaining that with the Rock of Eternia down here, that and kind of like Lucifer at the moment is not he is not where he should be, and he's kind of like left hell at the moment. And basically there's this huge power struggle, and that's really what's going on, and that's how the Rock of Eternia got down here. It has a part, to do with all that. And basically Neron saying that, that they kind of messed up by running into him, because they're like, two of the best pieces on the chessboard to have. You have the son of the devil, and then you have someone that's connected to this massive power source that just happens to be in hell. So it's kind of like a weapon and a bargaining chip kind of thing. Eventually Raven at the last second does kind of show up and ends up basically pimp slapping Neron, because she is so much more powerful than he is, even though he does try and stand up, but it's more like I had to try, and he ends up escaping before anything really goes down. Kind of after this, Raven just kind of scolds both of them for doing this, and Shazam walks over to the Rock of Eternia as shown, and he gets close enough where he can finally activate his powers, and then he kind of turns to her and he kind of scolds her as saying that, hey, you knew the Rock was here the whole time, like, we could have done this as a team, and look what, I had to do on my own. And she kind of explains that, that she didn't want him to do this, that she knew exactly what he was going to do, and just like, that she assumed, he did exactly that. Eventually he does kind of like, in a very smart way, does win the argument, basically by stating that he just needs to fix the problem. The Rock of Eternia is connected to him, and he does kind of go off, and an entrance to the Rock of Eternia appears, and there's supposed to be these massive dangerous forces that are inside. That's all that we know. And they do show Billy going inside, and when he does go inside, he does meet someone and is talked to, and he thinks it's the wizard, and it turns out to be, and as spoken, it's just Adam, but the costume is Black Adam's, so I would have to assume this is either an earlier version of Black Adam, or maybe a different version of Black Adam, or somebody from the Black Adam family that I'm not aware of, but that's basically where this issue leaves us at. But a really good issue and amazing art, I can say that. All these books, it's going to be amazing art. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, issue number 4, Rose Besh cover, the cover B. I love this cover. This story is basically, this young girl has hired Supergirl to track down this killer that killed her father. And Supergirl agreed to it, and the rest of the story is just basically moments in time along this journey from the little girl's perspective. I always give this warning, this is more like a novel versus a comic book. It is very wordy, but the story is extremely just... the art as well is like, it's beyond. It's probably one of my top DC books as far as the art. But we are catching up with, Supergirl and this girl, and this version of the story is basically, kind of the girl summing up, shortened different pieces along their journey, and basically at this time they are still looking for the killer to the little girl's father, and I think his name is like Cree or something like that, and I can't remember. I am really bad with names, for those of y'all that don't know, but they are still on that journey, and they're kind of like, they do show like, they really go off of each issue. It's been something different. Like one issue was like, how her perspective of Supergirl compared to others was kind of like, explaining that sometimes she does lose her temper. This one is more like her civility and her honor, and her neighborly kind of friendship things that she would do for a stranger, giving the shirt off her back kind of thing, and not really questioning why, because she doesn't need to, being the Supergirl and everything. one of the best scenes in the comic is this scene where they are led to this one planet that these Ravengers that the killer is attached to has been, and they lost like 137 people because these pirates came and just raped and pillaged this world and then took off. And we come across this one person that's left in town that is tasked with, they have a day to bury all these bodies, and if not, the town's just going to do a mass grave and burn everybody. The reason why it's so stressful to him is because his daughter was one of the people that died in the massacre, and it doesn't know exactly where his daughter's body is, so he's hoping, not only to put her in the ground and give her that slice of earth that she deserves, but also, to find her in general. But we do catch up in the scene with Supergirl and the younger girl, running across this person, and the person explaining what they need to do, and Supergirl asking if she can help, and the person basically saying, no, this is my duty, and and eventually Supergirl does talk the person into allowing them to help, and as soon as we know what Supergirl does, but as soon as she does, lightning speed, everything is instantly completed, and she even states that she might have got some things wrong, that they might need to go double check some stuff, but she did scan all the bodies and found his daughter, and was able to put her to rest, and was gladly going to take him to her, basically. We do get this other scene where it's like, we run across this planet that the Ravengers have been to, and this is like the last of like all the people on this planet, and it's just this woman who has lost like her whole family and her city and her everybody that existed there, and like Supergirl specifically trying to get her pissed, and they even kind of started out where it's like tricking you, where it's like making it look like Supergirl's trying to fight the girl, and no, it's just really Supergirl trying to get this girl to show some emotions, and in the end the big girl eventually does break down, and she cries and thanks Supergirl for what she did, kind of thing. There's a couple different moments of the comic in the middle, like specifically right here, where they have multiple conversations with Supergirl and this girl, like basically telling this girl that this is the end of the journey, it's going to get a lot more dangerous. Specifically in this place, it's like a if you'll notice, it looks more architecturally, but they have technology here where it's like they've recorded some of the massacres, and the little girl wants to go view with Supergirl, and Supergirl's like, no, we've already learned enough about this planet, kind of thing. We need to move on. You don't need to see this. You're too young, And eventually Supergirl does go in there alone, and it's not, she comes out and she just looks heartbroken, kind of thing. At that point of the comic, it is just basically like, Supergirl is in this rush to find this guy because everywhere she goes, it's just bad. They come across this one city here, and I have skipped a couple, scenes, but nothing really needed. But we do come across this one scene that I thought was epic, but we do find out that this like angelic city was another place that got massacred, and it's another one of those moments where the little girl doesn't know exactly what happens, but she assumes because Supergirl just took off. But we do see like Supergirl at one of her low points where she just had to get away. She flies to the nearest yellow sun, and she she lets out all her rage, and it just looks like the sun explodes. And she's also like crying, and she's broken. She doesn't like, seeing all the loss and massacre, but at the same time continuing on with her journey. But like I said before, at the very end, there's another conversation where, again, the girl is like, I want to continue, and Supergirl is steadily like, it's not safe, you need to stay behind, you're too innocent, we don't need to ruin that. And the girl's determined, and eventually Supergirl gives in, and she just, she picks her up and puts her on her back, and it looks like we're flying off to the next destination, and that's where this book leaves us at. If you're not reading Supergirl and you have the chance to read it, I highly suggest it, especially if you like, I think it is Tom Taylor who did the writing. I always get Tom King. Like I said, I always get the two confused, Tom Taylor and Tom King. But man, what an excellent story. Next up, another really good story. We got Batman the Detective, 5 of 6. I am a big DC fan, I would like to say, but I'm in no way, shape, or form biased. I'm still going to grade these the same, so me saying these are good stories, I like these stories, you know. This one has been excitedly good, but we are catching up with a different version of Batman. He is more like a Punisher-style Batman. He is in London, and he is trying to solve a crime. Someone has been killing everyone that is Batman has saved along his journey, starting off in Europe and UK and stuff like that. And Batman has finally met these foes called Equilibrium. It is a group that specifically, you know, kills anybody that Batman has saved, and they kind of see Batman as this force that shouldn't exist. Those people shouldn't have been saved. We are catching up with Batman here, and he is activating this European network of Batman all along. And if you know anything about Batman, he has Batman Inc. and you know, even his Robin in this issue, and you can see her in the driver's seat, but that is Squire, and she comes from Batman Inc. She's a knight and squire, like the London version of Batman. But a lot of the beginning of the comic book is basically him setting out his plan for what he wants this network to get working on. He never calls it the Batman Inc. or the Batman Network. I'm kind of, you know, nicknaming it. I think he has a different name called like the Reserve or something like that. Basically, it's what they are. They're like different forces. They're kind of like sleeper agents all around the country and the world. And he's helped them out before, and they're just willing to help him back out. We do come across the scene where they have finally tracked down where Equilibrium and her group are, because it is a girl who leads the group, and they've come to this like museum style architecture building, and they have like 37 victims that they all plan to kill. Batman takes charge, jumps in there, basically putting himself in front of the hostages and calling out Equilibrium. And as soon as he does, he basically calls in Oracle to, launch this massive bat tank in between, the hostages, him, and Equilibrium, which he does in success. And if you notice in the panels, in Batman form, he does not move or an inch during this whole explosion and crashery of the vehicle. As soon as it lands and everybody is safe, everybody starts getting into the vehicle, to be rescued, and then Batman just gets close quarters with everybody, all the Equilibrium members. He does take out most of the members and then comes face to face with Equilibrium herself, and we find out, in a bunch of these panels that she is not only trained, but has trained by some of these same masters, and he is, specifically getting Lady Shiva, kind of feels off of this bad guy, so he kind of knows, he's picking up that she has been trained by somebody close to him. They do kind of end in a draw, because Batman does release this gas, stating that she might be this great fighter and stuff like that, but as far as knowing all his tactics and stuff, she doesn't. So he does release like a toxin that comes from, it's a bunch of tear gas, but it's a high dose of it. And basically at that point it starts really taking down the Equilibrium, and that's when Equilibrium, the girl, that's when she slips away, and it's so awkward to say. We do catch up with some of the members outside, and at the same time, Batman, part of the plan was moving Ducard. He was one of the people that he saved, and worrying about that because he had saved him, he was kind of moving him for his own good, kind of thing. Ducard has sent Bruce Wayne a letter stating that he wanted to meet him at the first place where the comic started, and he had this cafe in Paris. And Batman and Squire, they do show up unmasked as asked. And we basically get the origin story of Equilibrium, because we find out that she was basically trained by the exact same people as Batman, and specifically by Ducard. And we know Batman spent a long time with Ducard. It's where he got most of his detective skills from. Not really his combat or kung fu or martial arts training, specifically the hunting of people and detecting and stuff like that. That's not to say he was the sole person. Batman has trained with a lot of people, but this is just one of the more important people that he has trained with. So we find out, and it has been mentioned before, that he had another pupil that was just like Bruce, but it's never been revealed who it was, and it is revealed that it was Equilibrium all along. They do give her real name and basically state that, just like Bruce, she was exactly like Bruce, but with one catch: she had no qualms with the killing, and she was an efficient killer, but she was not a crazed villain or anything like that. She used her specific set of skills, if you would say, to benefit the world as she saw fit. Now, she wasn't a madman or anything like that. She really did, try and pick and choose the best ways to help the world, and eventually she felt like she helped enough and quit. In the time of her quitting, we go to another scene, a flashback, where Batman is with Knight and Squire in London somewhere, and he is supposed to be taking down this traffic gun thing that's going down, and an accountant happens to be there, and Batman ends up saving the accountant. And flash forward a couple years later, and that same accountant gets in has a drunken fun night, not out of rage or anything, and happens to not accidentally, but he happens to crash his car into Equilibrium's car with her family, and she had a husband and a daughter, and she makes it out alive, but of course her family ends up dying. And basically, as soon as this goes down, and you can see the heartbreak that of course the mother would face, and but she just literally let's just say she snaps, because that was the accountant that killed her family. And after that point, that's when she became Equilibrium, kind of figuring out that if that Batman would have never saved that guy, then that guy wouldn't have been alive to kill his family. And so from that point out, she kind of uses that basis on what Equilibrium does, and what they should do. She kind of just sees Batman as a joker, and that's kind of at the very end, we kind of Ducar kind of like puts down this one little bit of frame of information, I guess you could say. But Batman kind of deduces a bigger part of her plot, finding out that she's not really going after people all along. I mean, that's a small part of her plan. But technically, Bruce Wayne has saved more than people. He's actually saved cities and countries, and maybe the world at some points, right? So it looks like her target might be a city or something bigger, but that's where this issue leaves us off at. Next one, a big one for a lot of people this week. This is King Shark, issue number 1, straight out of the Suicide Squad series. It is in direct continuity with the main Suicide Squad title. But you don't need to be reading that to pick this up. There is a big reason why a lot of people are hyping up on this book, because it has a F-ton of first appearances and new characters. Some of the characters, I mean, I would like to point out all of them, but I'm not the DC guru, so some of these people might have popped up before, but I think one of them would be Defacer, and if that's one that you are hyping up on, then this is not her first appearance that I know of, because technically it would be the free comic book day version of this comic if that was truly her first appearance. But okay, so as far as I know, she's a new character. But let's get into the story, right? So we got Defacer, and she's basically defacing Bloodhaven. She's supposed to be a Batman and Robin and Nightwing, like C-lister villain. All she does is spray paint kind of thing. The title Defacer kind of says it. But she does get caught by Nightwing, and she gets thrown into Belle Reve. Has to go through therapy, and we see that she's caught making fun of this fiery girl, and the fiery girl doesn't like all that, and ends up trying to beat the crud out of her, and King Shark kind of sees all this and sees her as one of these, I don't know how you put it, but it kind of feels like he needs to protect her kind of thing, and he ends up doing so. Ends up killing that or eating or that the fiery person that was messing with Defacer. And Amanda Waller kind of takes hint at all this, kind of explaining that some secrets that is brand new, especially for me. That King Shark, because he is the Suicide Squad, we always assumed that he had a bomb in his neck or in his brain. Amanda Waller just explains that he does not. That all along that he has been here on his own accord, and it is actually because of his father, the great king of the sea, this massive king shark. But he's there on purpose to try and teach him like civility and responsibility, but also like to harness his rage and his animal instinct and his fighting instinct and that kind of stuff. Waller does tell Defacer that she will be accompanying King Shark to this ritual that he has to go to, and King Shark's father is impatiently bothering Waller about it. She doesn't want to let King Shark go by himself because she's afraid he will stay and not come back, and as far as Waller concerned, he is a heavy hitter on the group. We do meet King Shark's dad, the great god of the sea, and he does explain that it is time, that he has wasted a bunch of time on King Shark, hoping that he would develop this murderous rage and this power, and he explains that there is a tournament coming up, and he was hoping that King Shark will be ready, and he doesn't feel like he is, so he has picked another suitor, and this would be I guess it would be Queen Orca, or maybe she states it, but it just says Orca, the whale woman. But we do that is, if you did read the free comic book version, or if you did not, that's where that preview ended, was right here with her grabbing King Shark. So we did get some more backstory into all of this, and we see that Defacer used to run this kind of like therapy group for villains, and a lady Orca, or woman Orca, was a part of that group, and it kind of jumps back over to the King Shark and the Orca fight, and King Shark's not really putting up a fight at all. Eventually Defacer has to kind of talk him into it, and King Shark just kind of states that she's not really a match, and that's why he wasn't fighting, and he quickly shows how much of not a match she was. And Defacer again has to talk him into the opposite, now kind of talking him down from killing Lady Orca, explaining that she knew her in the real world and that kind of stuff. The God King of the Sea, we do see, gets a steadily pissed off that not only his champion that he chose gets defeated so easily, but he still does not feel that King Shark is ready, but as you can see here, rips a hole in reality and opens a portal to another realm. A realm that only animal type of people can open, supposedly. It's not something that just a humanoid looking person could teleport to, even if they had teleportation powers. But at the last second, we do see that, during why he's opening this portal, that Defacer, kind of realizing what's going on, realizes that she cannot be left here, or be left to go back to the beach to return to Waller, because Waller will just blow her up. So eventually talks King Shark into taking her. On the other end, Waller, seeing both of their energy kind of, signatures disappearing off screen, starts freaking out, and basically starts commanding all the heavy hitters to go look for King Shark and Defacer, stating that she will not lose one of her prized properties. As they get through the other side, we see Defacer is, she's messed up. It made her bleed, and it's messed with her head, and she's kind of pissed at King Shark, and King Shark is, all this busting out her, and he gets pissed and just walks away, and he's just mad that he's stuck up for her. And really what it is just everything happening so quick with Defacer. She's not really mad at him, she's just a lot going on. We do meet this other guy, he does have a wily name. We're just going to go with the other name that he picks, but the Man King. And he kind of explains that in this nether realm, they are in a Mortal Kombat style tournament that's about to happen, a fight to the death tournament, and King Shark is one of the combatants, along with the Man King. He is the chosen article to represent the humans in this fight. And basically he explains that each of the apex predators on the planet could choose one successor to represent them, And that's what we're going to see going forward. And we see the lineup of all the contenders, and it looks amazing. But that's all I got. Please like, comment, subscribe, and y'all have a great day. I will be seeing y'all later.